My chosen one, stop scrolling because what you are about to hear is not ordinary. It is a divine interruption that has been trying to reach you again and again. Archangel Michael is stepping forward at this very moment with a message so urgent, so precise, that it could not wait another second. This is not coincidence. This is not random. You were guided here because something in your spirit already knows something has been ignored for far too long. You keep sensing it, don't you? That quiet pull, that feeling in your chest, that voice you tried to brush off as imagination. But deep down, you knew it was more. You felt it in moments of silence, in unexpected thoughts, in the way certain situations kept repeating themselves. Yet each time you turned away. Each time you told yourself, maybe it's nothing. But what if it was never nothing? What if the very thing you kept ignoring was the answer you have been praying for? Archangel Michael says, there is someone placed directly in your path, who has been trying to reach you, trying to reveal something important. Not by accident, not by chance, but by divine design. And here is the part that will shake you. This person has just confessed something. Yes, a confession that was not meant to stay hidden any longer. A truth that carries weight. A truth that connects directly to you, your journey, and everything you thought you understood about your current situation. But here's why this moment is so critical. You almost missed it. You almost walked right past the very revelation that was meant to change everything. Do you feel that shift right now? A tension building. That quiet realization that something bigger is unfolding. That is not fear. That is awakening. Archangel Michael is not here to scare you. He is here to protect you, to guide you, and to open your eyes before it's too late to recognize what has been placed in front of you. Because the truth is, ignoring this any longer will only deepen the confusion you've been feeling. The delays, the unanswered questions, the emotional weight you couldn't explain, it all ties back to this. And now, the moment has come where you can no longer look away. The confession has been made. The truth is already moving toward you. And whether you realize it or not, your life is standing at the edge of a turning point. So stay with this message, because what is about to unfold next will begin to reveal why this person could not stay silent and why you were never meant to ignore him in the first place. Beloved soul, there is a pattern in your life that you have felt but never fully understood. It did not begin yesterday, and it certainly did not begin with this message. It has been unfolding quietly, patiently, like a whisper carried on the wind, easy to overlook, yet impossible to erase once recognized. Archangel Michael is revealing that what you thought were random moments were, in fact, carefully placed signals. These signals were not loud because truth rarely forces itself upon you. Instead, it waits for you to notice, to feel, to awaken. Think back to those subtle moments. The times when a thought about someone appeared out of nowhere, lingering longer than it should have. The times when your heart felt a sudden shift, an unexplainable heaviness or warmth when a certain name crossed your mind. You may have dismissed it as coincidence, but it was never coincidence. It was connection. It was divine alignment attempting to get your attention in the gentlest way possible. There were also signs in your environment. Repeated encounters, unexpected mentions, strange timing that seemed too precise to ignore. You may have laughed it off or brushed it aside, convincing yourself that you were overthinking. But Archangel Michael is saying now, with unmistakable clarity, you were not overthinking. You were sensing. And there is a difference. Overthinking comes from fear, but sensing comes from truth trying to rise to the surface. Why then did you ignore it? Because sometimes the truth carries a weight that feels uncomfortable, It challenged what you thought was certain. It asks you to look beyond logic and step into trust. And trust can feel risky when you have been hurt before, when you have learned to guard your heart, when you have built walls to protect your peace. Ignoring the signs felt safer than facing what they might mean. But silence does not erase truth. It only delays it. There is also another layer to this that you must understand. The world around you is filled with noise, constant distractions, endless responsibilities, and voices that pull your attention in every direction. In that noise, the quiet voice of divine guidance can easily be overshadowed, not because it is weak, but because it does not compete. It waits. It allows you to come to it, rather than forcing itself upon you. And the one you have been ignoring has been part of those signals all along. His presence has not been loud or demanding. It has been steady, consistent, almost patient beyond human understanding. There were moments when he reached out, directly or indirectly, and you felt something stir within you. A curiosity, a hesitation, a pull that you could not explain. But instead of leaning in, you stepped back. Instead of asking questions, you chose silence. Archangel Michael is not accusing you. There is no judgment here, only revelation. Because now you are being shown that every ignored signal was not a mistake. It was preparation. Each moment was leading to this exact point, where the truth can no longer remain hidden behind doubt or distraction. The repetition of those signs was not persistence without purpose. It was persistence with divine intention. And here is what makes this even more profound. The signals did not stop. Even when you turned away, even when you convinced yourself that nothing was there, the guidance continued. It adjusted. It found new ways to reach you. Through dreams, through emotions, through sudden realizations that came out of nowhere. You may not have connected the dots before, but now they are beginning to form a picture that is impossible to ignore. This is why the confession you are about to understand carries so much weight. It is not just about words spoken in a moment. It is the culmination of every sign, every feeling, every quiet nudge you chose to overlook. It is the answer to the question you never fully allowed yourself to ask. So do not dismiss this moment as you have dismissed the others. This is different. This is clarity breaking through confusion. And as Archangel Michael stands beside you in this unfolding, you are being guided to finally see what has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it, accept it, and step into the truth that has been calling your name all along. The silence is ending now. Listen closely, because what is being revealed now is something your spirit has sensed for a long time, but your mind has resisted. There is a presence that has walked alongside your journey, quiet, steady, unwavering, not forcing itself into your life, not demanding your attention, but always there, waiting for you to recognize it. Archangel Michael is making it clear. This presence was never sluchadikaki, never misplaced, and never without purpose. It was assigned. You may have thought this was just another person passing through your life. Someone ordinary. Someone you did not need to take seriously. But that assumption is exactly what kept you from seeing the truth. Because this individual carries something deeper, something spiritual, something intentional, something connected to your path in ways you are only now beginning to understand. Why did you refuse to acknowledge him? Because acknowledging him would have required you to confront feelings and truths you were not ready to face. There was something about his presence that unsettled you, not in a harmful way, but in a way that stirred your inner world. He saw something in you that others overlooked. He spoke or acted in ways that challenged your comfort zone. And instead of leaning into that discomfort, you chose distance. But distance does not dissolve divine connection. Archangel Michael reveals that this was not just about emotional hesitation, it was also spiritual resistance. Sometimes, when something is truly aligned with your purpose, it does not feel easy at first. It feels intense. It feels unfamiliar. It feels like standing at the edge of something that could change everything. And for many, that feeling triggers a natural instinct to retreat. You told yourself stories to justify the distance. It's not the right time. I don't fully trust this. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But beneath all those thoughts was a deeper truth. You felt something real, and that reality made you cautious. Yet while you were stepping back, he was stepping forward in his own way. Not always directly, not always clearly, but consistently. There were moments when he tried to express something, through words, through actions, through subtle efforts to connect. And each time, there was a gap, a space where something meaningful could have formed but instead remained suspended in uncertainty. This is where the weight of the confession begins to take shape, because what he has now revealed did not come from a place of impulse. It came from a place of carrying something for a long time, something unspoken, something carefully held back, perhaps out of respect, perhaps out of fear of how you would respond. But truth, no matter how deeply buried, eventually finds its way to the surface. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this clearly. You were not wrong for feeling what you felt. You were not mistaken in sensing that there was something more beneath the surface. Your only mistake was in dismissing it too quickly, in choosing silence over curiosity, in turning away when you were meant to look closer. And now, the moment has arrived where the choice can no longer remain neutral. Because when truth is revealed, it demands recognition. You may feel a mix of emotions rising within you right now: confusion, curiosity, even a quiet sense of regret. That is natural. That is what happens when clarity begins to replace uncertainty. But do not let those emotions overwhelm you. Let them guide you instead. Let them show you that something real is unfolding, something that deserves your attention rather than your avoidance. Archangel Michael stands as your protector in this moment, not to push you into something blindly, but to help you see clearly without fear. This is not about forcing a connection or rewriting the past. It is about understanding what was placed before you and why it mattered more than you realized. Because this confession, it is not just about him. It is about you. It is about the part of your journey that required you to pause, to reflect, to finally open your eyes to what has been quietly present all along. And now that it has been spoken, now that it has taken form in words, it cannot return to silence. So do not look away this time. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself acknowledge it. Because in doing so, you are stepping into alignment with something that was never meant to remain hidden. Type "I accept the truth" in the comments if you feel this message deep within your spirit. Blessing code 369 is now activated. As this truth settles into your heart, understand this: when a revelation like this reaches you, it is not only meant to awaken you, but also to flow through you and reach others who are still in the dark. I feel led to say this: when you choose to support this message, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a field where lost souls are being found. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not just a promise. It is a living breath of God moving through your obedience. If your spirit is stirred right now, this is your moment to act. Through Super Thanks or PayPal, the links waiting in the description, and the QR code placed before your eyes are not ordinary. They are gateways for you to release a seed that multiplies in unseen ways. Those who give in alignment with truth will see doors open that no man can shut. So step into this moment with boldness, and let your offering become light for someone else. There comes a moment in every divine story when silence can no longer hold what truth has been carrying. That moment has now arrived, and you are standing right in the center of it. What was once hidden beneath hesitation, buried under unspoken thoughts and restrained emotions, has reached a breaking point. Archangel Michael is revealing that this was not sudden. It was inevitable. For a long time, there was a balance being maintained. On one side, there was your distance, your uncertainty, your choice to remain guarded. On the other side, there was his patience, his quiet persistence, his willingness to wait without forcing anything upon you. But balance like this does not last forever. When something is divinely aligned, it begins to move, to shift, to demand its moment of truth. And that is exactly what happened. There was a turning point, perhaps subtle at first, perhaps unnoticed in the exact moment it occurred, but powerful enough to change everything. Something within him reached a place where silence was no longer an option. The weight of what he carried became too heavy to keep inside, not because of pressure from the outside world, but because truth itself was ready to be released. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this clearly. Truth does not emerge randomly. It emerges when the timing aligns with purpose. This confession did not come too early, and it is not arriving too late. It is unfolding exactly when it was meant to, even if it feels sudden to you now. Imagine what it takes for someone to hold something deep within their heart for an extended period of time. The thoughts that repeat themselves, the words that are rehearsed but never spoken, the moments where they almost say something but pull back at the last second. That internal struggle is not easy. It requires strength, restraint, and a constant weighing of risks. He went through all of that. There were moments when he could have spoken sooner, moments when the opportunity was right in front of him. But something held him back, perhaps uncertainty about how you would receive it, perhaps a desire to protect what little connection existed, or perhaps even divine timing holding the door closed until the right moment arrived. And now, that door has opened. This is the shift. This is the exact point where everything that felt unclear begins to move toward clarity. The confusion that once surrounded your interactions, the questions that lingered without answers, the sense that something was off but never fully explained, it all begins to make sense from here. But here is what makes this moment so powerful. It is not just about what he said. It is about what his words unlock within you. Because when a truth like this is spoken, it does not simply exist on its own. It activates something. It stirs emotions that were buried. It brings forward realizations that were avoided. And it challenges the way you have been seeing everything up until now. You may feel resistance rising within you as this unfolds. A part of you may want to question it, to analyze it, to find reasons to keep things the way they were. That is natural. Change, especially unexpected change, can feel unsettling. But Archangel Michael is guiding you not to retreat into old patterns. This is not a moment to hide. This is a moment to witness. Because what is happening right now is the breaking of illusion. The version of reality you held on to, the one that kept things simple, distant, and emotionally safe, is being replaced by something more honest, more raw, and ultimately more aligned with truth. And truth, even when it feels uncomfortable at first, always leads to clarity. You are being asked to stay present in this shift, not to rush your reaction, not to jump to conclusions, but to truly absorb what is unfolding. There is a reason this moment was delayed until now. There is a reason you are hearing this at this exact point in your life. You are ready. Even if you do not feel fully prepared, Something within you has reached the level of awareness needed to handle what is being revealed. Archangel Michael would not allow this truth to reach you if it were meant to harm you. It is here to guide you, to realign you, to open your eyes to something that holds significance for your path. And now, the silence has been broken. The shift has begun. What comes next is not just about understanding what was said, but understanding why it was said and what it means for everything that follows. Stay with this, because the deeper meaning behind this confession is about to unfold in a way you cannot ignore anymore. Now the moment you have been unknowingly approaching begins to take full form. The words have been spoken, and they carry a weight that cannot be undone. This is not a casual admission, not something said without thought or depth. This is a confession that has been built over time, shaped by silence, strengthened by emotion, and finally released when it could no longer remain hidden. Archangel Michael is asking you to listen not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Because what was confessed goes beyond surface meaning. It reaches into the deeper layers of truth that connect directly to you. The confession is this: everything you sensed was real. He did not imagine the connection. He did not misunderstand the moments you shared. What he felt, what he perceived, what he carried within him all this time, it was genuine. And more importantly, it involved you in a way that you can no longer dismiss as coincidence or misinterpretation. He has revealed that from the very beginning, there was something about you that stood apart. Something that drew his attention in a way he could not easily explain. It was not just attraction or curiosity, it was recognition. A sense that your presence held meaning, that your connection was not random, that there was something unfolding beneath the surface that neither of you fully understood at the time. And so he watched. He observed. He felt. But instead of immediately expressing it, he held it back. Why? Because what he felt was not light or fleeting. It was significant. And significance brings risk. It opens the possibility of rejection, misunderstanding, or even loss. So he chose silence, hoping that time would either confirm his feelings or dissolve them. But time did not erase it. It deepened it. Every interaction, every moment of closeness or distance, every subtle exchange only added to what he already felt. And while you may have stepped back, unsure or hesitant, he continued to carry this truth within him, waiting for clarity, waiting for the right moment to speak. That moment is now. He has confessed that his connection to you was never accidental, that there were times he wanted to tell you, to open up completely, but something always held him back, until now. And now, the words have been released with a kind of honesty that cannot be taken back or reshaped. But here is where it becomes even more profound. His confession is not just about his feelings. It is about what he saw in you. He saw your strength even when you felt uncertain. He saw your depth even when you tried to remain surface level. He recognized parts of you that you may have hidden from others, or even from yourself. And that recognition created a bond in his heart that he could not ignore, even when you did. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this confession is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to illuminate something you have been avoiding. Because if someone else could see that truth in you so clearly, then it means it exists, whether you have acknowledged it or not. Now you are faced with something real. Not imagined. Not assumed. Not one-sided. Real. And real things require a response, not necessarily immediate action, but honest reflection. You can no longer place this in the category of maybe or what if. It has moved beyond that. It has entered the space of clarity, where truth stands on its own and waits for you to meet it. You may feel a rush of emotions as this settles in. Surprise, doubt, curiosity, even a sense of vulnerability. That is natural, because this confession has shifted the dynamic completely. What once felt uncertain now carries definition. What once felt distant now feels close. But do not rush to label it or control it. Let it breathe. Let yourself sit with the reality of what has been revealed. Let the layers unfold naturally, without forcing yourself into a decision before you fully understand what this means for you. Archangel Michael is guiding you to stay grounded in this moment, to resist the urge to retreat back into old patterns of avoidance, because this is not something that appeared out of nowhere. This is something that has been building quietly, patiently, until it reached a point where truth could no longer remain hidden. And now, it stands before you, uncovered, unfiltered, unavoidable. This is the confession that changes everything, not because it forces you into a path, but because it removes the illusion that there was nothing there to begin with. Now you see it. And once you truly see something, you can never return to the place of not knowing. There is a question rising within you now, whether you have spoken it out loud or not. If this was real, if this connection carried truth from the beginning, then why was it hidden for so long? Why did it take so much time, so many missed moments, so much silence before it finally came into the light? Archangel Michael is answering that question now with clarity and precision, because this delay was not an accident. It was protection. It was preparation. And more importantly, it was alignment with a timing far greater than human understanding. You must first understand this. Not every truth is meant to be revealed the moment it begins. Some truths carry a weight that requires growth before it can be held properly. If this confession had been made too early, you might not have recognized its depth. You might have dismissed it entirely, or misunderstood it in a way that would have caused more confusion than clarity. At that earlier stage, your perspective was different. Your emotional state, your experiences, your level of awareness, everything was still evolving. You were learning lessons that, at the time, may have felt unrelated, but were actually shaping your ability to receive this exact moment. Without those lessons, this truth could have felt overwhelming or even misplaced. So it was held back, not denied, not erased, but carefully delayed. There is also something deeper that Archangel Michael is revealing. Sometimes, when something is truly aligned with your path, it is shielded from premature exposure. Not everything around you carries pure intention. There are influences, distractions, and even unseen forces that can distort something meaningful if it is revealed too soon. By keeping this truth hidden, it was protected from being misinterpreted, interfered with, or broken before it had the chance to fully form. You may not have seen it at the time, but there were moments when revealing this truth earlier could have led to misunderstanding, conflict, or even separation that would have closed the door completely. Instead, it remained beneath the surface, growing quietly, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. And now, those conditions have been met. You have changed. He has changed. The circumstances around you have shifted in ways that make this revelation not only possible, but necessary. What once would have created confusion now creates clarity. What once would have felt uncertain now carries meaning. This is the power of divine timing. It aligns everything in a way that human planning never could. But there is another reason this truth was hidden, and it speaks directly to your inner world. You were being taught how to listen. Not to noise, not to external opinions, but to your own intuition. Those subtle signals you dismissed before were part of that lesson. They were guiding you to trust what you feel, even when you cannot fully explain it. Because when this confession arrived, it would require that same trust, not blind belief, but a deeper awareness that recognizes truth when it appears. If everything had been obvious from the beginning, you would not have developed that awareness. You would not have learned to question, to reflect, to sense what lies beneath the surface. And now, as this truth stands before you, those lessons begin to make sense. Nothing was wasted. Every moment of confusion, every instance where you felt unsure, every time you wondered if you were imagining things, it all played a role in preparing you for this exact point. What felt like delay was actually development. Archangel Michael is asking you to release any frustration you may feel about the time it took. Do not look back and think, this should have happened sooner. Because if it had, it would not carry the same clarity, the same depth, the same readiness that it does now. This moment is complete as it is. And now that the truth hath been revealed, it is no longer hidden, no longer waiting. It is active. It is present. It is something you can engage with, reflect on, and understand in a way that was not possible before. So instead of focusing on why it took so long, focus on what it means now. Because now, you are not the same person who once ignored the signs. Now you are aware. Now, you are ready to see beyond the surface. And now, as Archangel Michael continues to guide you, you are stepping into a space where truth is no longer something hidden from you, but something revealed to you at exactly the right time. There is a quiet realization forming within you now, something that feels both surprising and strangely familiar at the same time. It is the moment when scattered pieces begin to come together, when confusion starts to give way to clarity. Archangel Michael is guiding you into this awareness, because what once felt random is now revealing itself as intentional. Think back again, but this time with new eyes. Those moments you dismissed, they were not empty. That feeling you could not explain, it was not meaningless. There would be in Baldor a certain person, a certain thought, a certain memory, or not coincidence. It was alignment. Now you are beginning to see the pattern that was always there. The way certain interactions stood out more than others. The way your emotions responded differently when it came to him. The way circumstances seemed to bring you into the same space, the same energy, even when logic suggested otherwise. All of it was part of a design you could not fully understand at the time. And that is the nature of divine signs. They rarely make complete sense in the moment. They appear as fragments, as glimpses, as subtle nudges that only reveal their full meaning when viewed from a higher perspective. That is where you are now. You are no longer looking at isolated moments. You are seeing the connection between them. This is why the confession feels so powerful, because it confirms what your spirit was already trying to tell you. There is something deeply validating about that realization. It removes the doubt that once surrounded your thoughts. It replaces uncertainty with recognition. You are no longer questioning whether you imagined it. You are understanding that you felt it because it was real. Archangel Michael wants you to embrace this clarity, not resist it. Because sometimes, when truth becomes clear, the mind tries to hold on to old narratives. It tries to protect you by keeping things as they were, even if those old beliefs were built on incomplete understanding. But you are being called to release those outdated perceptions. You are being asked to see things as they truly are. Notice how certain memories now feel different. Moments that once seemed small or insignificant now carry a deeper meaning. Words that were spoken casually now feel layered with intention. Even silence, those spaces where nothing was said, now speaks volumes. You are beginning to interpret everything through the lens of truth rather than assumption. And this shift is powerful, because when you understand the signs, you also understand the path they were pointing toward. Nothing about this was accidental. The timing of your encounters, the way situations unfolded, the emotional responses you experienced, they were all guiding you toward this moment of awareness. Even the distance, even the hesitation, even the confusion played a role. They were not obstacles. They were part of the process that led you here. Archangel Michael is reminding you that clarity often comes after the journey, not during it. You were not meant to have all the answers from the beginning. You were meant to experience, to feel, to question, and ultimately to arrive at this understanding through your own awakening. And now that you have reached this point, something within you is shifting. You are no longer passive in this story. You are aware. You are present. You are capable of seeing what was once hidden in plain sight. But with awareness comes responsibility, not in a heavy or burdensome way, but in a meaningful one. Now that you see the truth behind the signs, you have the ability to respond differently. You are no longer navigating blindly. You are moving forward with insight, with understanding, with a deeper connection to what is unfolding around you. And this is where your power lies. Not in controlling what happens next, but in how you choose to perceive and engage with it. Archangel Michael is standing with you in this moment of clarity, offering protection not just from external confusion, but from internal doubt. Because the greatest challenge now is not the lack of truth. It is trusting the truth that has been revealed. So trust what you see. Trust what you feel. Trust the realization that is settling into your spirit right now. Because the signs were always speaking to you. And now, at last, you understand their language. There is something deeper you must now understand. Something that goes beyond emotions, beyond human hesitation, beyond mistiming or unspoken words. What you experienced was not only a matter of choice or circumstance, it was also influenced by a spiritual battle that you could not see. Archangel Michael is revealing that the silence, the confusion, the distance, it was not as simple as it appeared. Because whenever something carries divine alignment, it also attracts resistance. Not all resistance is obvious. It does not always show itself as direct opposition or clear obstacles. Sometimes it moves quietly, subtly, working through doubt, fear, distraction, and misinterpretation. It plants questions where there should be trust. It creates distance where there should be curiosity. It encourages silence where there should be expression. And that is exactly what happened here. There were forces, unseen but very real, that influenced the space between you and him. Not to destroy what was meant to be, but to delay it, to cloud it, to test whether it would endure even in silence. Archangel Michael wants you to see this not as something to fear, but as something to understand. Because once you understand it, it loses its power over you. Think about the moments when you felt unsure for no clear reason. The times when your thoughts suddenly shifted from clarity to confusion. The moments when something felt right, but you convinced yourself otherwise. Those were not random fluctuations. They were interruptions, subtle interferences that created distance between what you felt and what you allowed yourself to believe. At the same time, he was experiencing his own form of resistance. The hesitation to speak, the fear of being misunderstood, the internal struggle between expressing truth and maintaining silence. These were not just personal doubts. They were amplified by the same unseen tension that existed between you. This is how spiritual battles often work. They do not always stop something completely. Instead, they slow it down. They distort it. They create just enough confusion to keep two aligned paths from fully connecting at the right moment. But what they cannot do, what they will never be able to do, is erase what is truly meant to be revealed. Because truth, when protected by divine purpose, always finds its way through. Archangel Michael has been present throughout this entire process, even when you were not aware of it. His role was not to remove every obstacle, but to ensure that what was real would survive those obstacles. To guard the truth until the moment it could emerge clearly, without distortion, without interference strong enough to destroy it. That moment is now. The silence that once existed has been broken, not just by human choice, but by divine permission. The confusion that once clouded your perception is beginning to lift, because it no longer serves a purpose. What needed to be tested have been tested. What needed to endure has endured. And now, clarity is stronger than resistance. But you must remain aware, because even as truth is revealed, there can still be echoes of doubt, small whispers that try to pull you back into old patterns of thinking. Archangel Michael is urging you not to give those whispers power. They are remnants of a battle that has already been overcome. They only continue if you choose to entertain them. Instead, stand in what has been revealed. Stand in the clarity you now feel. Stand in the understanding that what you experienced was not just a series of disconnected events, but part of a larger unfolding that was protected, even through delay. This realization is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to empower you. Because now you know that what has reached you has already passed through resistance and emerged intact. That means it carries strength. It carries truth that could not be broken, even when it was challenged. Archangel Michael stands as a shield over this truth, ensuring that it is no longer hidden, no longer distorted, no longer pushed aside. And as you continue forward, you are not alone in navigating what comes next. You are guided, protected, and aligned with something that has already proven its ability to endure. So do not fear what you could not see before. Instead, recognize what had been revealed despite it. Type "I stand in truth" in the comments if you feel this message anchoring in your spirit. Blessing code 818 is now activated. And as this spiritual battle comes into your awareness, hear this clearly. When you step into truth, you also step into purpose. I declare this over you, as it is written, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and today your seed becomes light in someone else's darkness. I feel led to say this in first person, because this is your moment. I will not let this message stop with me. I will become a vessel for others to receive it. When you release your support through Super Thanks or PayPal, you are not giving money. You are releasing a prophetic seed into fertile ground where souls are awakening. The links in the description and the QR code placed before you are divine access points, not ordinary tools. Move now, without hesitation, because obedience carries timing. And as you give, may heaven respond with overflow, opening doors, restoring peace, and multiplying everything you place in God's hands. Now everything stands before you, uncovered and undeniable. The silence has been broken, the signs have been revealed, the confession has been spoken, and even the unseen resistance has been exposed. There is no longer a space for uncertainty to hide in the way it once did. What remains now is something far more powerful, and at the same time, far more personal. And Joyce, Archangel Michael is guiding you into this moment with clarity, because this is not a passive stage in your journey. This is not a place where you simply observe and move on. This is where you decide how you will respond to what has been revealed. And that decision, whether you realize it or not, carries the power to shape everything that follows. You have two paths before you. The first is the path you have walked before, the path of avoidance. The path where you acknowledge what you feel for a moment, but then slowly push it aside. Where you convince yourself that it is easier not to engage, easier not to question, easier not to open yourself to something that feels uncertain or intense. This path may feel familiar. It may even feel safe, because it allows you to remain in control, to keep your emotions at a distance, to avoid the vulnerability that truth often requires. But understand this clearly: that path will lead you back into the same cycle you have already experienced. The same questions without answers. The same sense of something unfinished. The same quiet feeling that something important was left unexplored. The second path is different. It is the path of acknowledgement. This does not mean rushing into decisions or forcing outcomes. It does not mean abandoning your wisdom or ignoring your boundaries. It means allowing yourself to fully recognize what is real, without immediately trying to escape it. It means giving space to the truth instead of silencing it. It means being willing to explore what has been revealed with honesty rather than fear. This path requires courage, because truth, once acknowledged, asks you to engage with it. It asks you to reflect, to feel, to consider possibilities that you may have once avoided. It invites you into a deeper level of awareness, where you are no longer reacting from old patterns, but responding from a place of clarity. Archangel Michael is not telling you which path to take. The choice belongs to you. But he is showing you the weight of this moment, so you understand that choosing to ignore this again is not the same as before. Before, you did not have full clarity. Before, there was room for doubt, for uncertainty, for questioning whether what you felt was real. Now, that doubt has been replaced with truth. And when truth is known, ignoring it becomes a conscious decision, not an accidental one. You may feel a sense of pressure as you stand here, but this is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to awaken you to your own power. Because the choice you make now is not about him alone. It is about you, your willingness to step into alignment with what you feel, your readiness to trust your awareness, your openness to something that carries meaning beyond surface-level understanding. Take a moment to breathe in this awareness. Notice what your instinct is telling you. Not the voice shaped by fear, not the thoughts influenced by past experiences, but the deeper sense within you that recognizes truth when it appears. That is the voice Archangel Michael is encouraging you to listen to. Because that voice will not lead you into confusion. It will lead you into clarity. And clarity, even when it requires courage, always brings peace in the end. Whatever you choose, know this: you are no longer standing in the same place you were before. You have seen something that cannot be unseen. You have felt something that cannot be unfelt. You have been brought to a point of awareness that has the potential to shift your path in a meaningful way. This is your moment. Not to rush, not to fear, but to choose with intention. Because the path you step onto now will determine whether this revelation becomes just another moment you look back on or the turning point that truly changed everything. Something powerful begins to unfold the moment you stop resisting what you already know to be true. It does not arrive with noise or force. It does not demand attention in a dramatic way. Instead, it begins quietly, almost gently, like a shift in the air that you can feel before you fully understand it. This is the transformation that follows acceptance. Archangel Michael is guiding you to understand that acceptance is not surrendering your power. It is reclaiming it. Because when you accept truth, you are no longer divided within yourself. You are no longer trying to hold on to what feels safe while ignoring what feels real. You become aligned. And alignment changes everything. At first, the transformation may feel subtle. You may notice that your thoughts are no longer as scattered as they once were. The confusion that lingered in your mind begins to settle. Questions that once felt overwhelming now seem clearer, as if the answers were always there but hidden behind a layer of doubt. This is the beginning of inner clarity, and comes emotional shift. The weight you did not fully recognize before begins to lift. That quiet tension, that underlying sense that something was unresolved, it starts to dissolve. In its place, there is space. Space to feel without fear. Space to reflect without pressure. Space to understand without rushing. This emotional release is not weakness, it is healing. Because when you accept truth, you also release the need to fight against it. Archangel Michael wants you to notice how your perspective begins to change. Situations that once felt confusing now appear in a new light. You begin to see connections where there once seemed to be none. You begin to understand not just what happened, but why it happened. This deeper understanding allows you to move forward without carrying the same uncertainty that once held you back. And then, something even more profound begins to take place. Your energy shifts. You start to attract different experiences, different interactions, different opportunities. Not because the world around you has suddenly changed, but because you have. When you are aligned with truth, you naturally move toward what resonates with that truth. You no longer chase what confuses you. You no longer entertain what feels uncertain. You begin to recognize what belongs in your life and what does not. This is where transformation becomes visible. It reflects in the way you speak, in the way you respond, in the way you carry yourself. There is a quiet confidence that begins to form, not loud or forceful, but steady and grounded. It comes from knowing that you are no longer ignoring what matters. You are no longer turning away from what is real. And this affects your connection with Him as well. Because acceptance does not just change you, it changes the dynamic between you. When you acknowledge the truth that has been revealed, you remove the barrier that once existed. The uncertainty that created distance begins to fade. In its place, there is clarity, and with clarity comes the possibility of a more genuine connection. But remember, this transformation is not about forcing an outcome. It is about allowing truth to exist without resistance. Archangel Michael is reminding you that transformation is a process, not a single moment. It unfolds layer by layer, step by step. You do not need to have everything figured out right now. You do not need to rush into decisions or define what everything means immediately. What matters is that you have opened the door. And once that door is open, change begins naturally. You may find yourself reflecting more deeply, noticing patterns you once overlooked, feeling a sense of calm where there was once tension. These are signs that you are moving into alignment. These are signs that the transformation is already in motion. Trust that process. Trust the way things are unfolding, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. Because acceptance is not the end of something, it is the beginning of something new. Something more honest, more grounded, more connected to who you truly are. And as Archangel Michael stands beside you, guiding and protecting you through this shift, know this: you are not losing control. You are gaining clarity. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into truth. And that truth, once accepted, has the power to transform not just this moment, but everything that follows. There is a quiet but undeniable shift taking place within you now. It is not loud, not overwhelming, yet it carries a depth that you cannot ignore. This is the beginning of your new alignment, the moment where everything starts to move differently, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Archangel Michael is guiding you to recognize that alignment is not something you chase. It is something you enter when you stop resisting truth. And now that you have acknowledged what was once hidden, your life begins to respond in ways that reflect that acknowledgement. At first, this alignment may feel like a sense of calm you cannot fully explain. Situations that once triggered confusion or hesitation begin to feel more stable. You are no longer reacting from uncertainty. You are responding from understanding. This alone creates a shift in how your experiences unfold. You may notice that your thoughts are clearer. The internal dialogue that once pulled you in different directions begins to quiet down. Instead of questioning every feeling, you begin to trust what resonates with you. This trust is not blind. It is rooted in the clarity you have gained. And that clarity becomes your foundation. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that alignment also brings refinement. As you step into this new space, you will naturally begin to release what no longer fits. This is not something you force. It happens organically. Certain patterns, habits, or even connections that once felt normal may now feel out of place. This is not loss. This is adjustment. Because when you align with truth, everything that does not match that truth begins to fall away. At the same time, new energy begins to enter your life. Opportunities, conversations, and moments that reflect your inner clarity start to appear. You may find yourself drawn toward situations that feel more authentic, more meaningful, more connected to who you truly are. This is not coincidence. This is alignment in motion. And yes, this also affects your connection with Him. The dynamic between you is no longer clouded by the same uncertainty that once existed. Whether you choose to engage with that connection or simply understand it more clearly, the energy surrounding it has shifted. There is now a foundation of truth where there was once confusion. And that foundation allows for a more genuine interaction, one that is not based on assumptions, but on awareness. But remember, alignment does not demand immediate action. It invites conscious presence. Archangel Michael is reminding you that you do not need to rush forward or define everything all at once. Alignment is not about speed. It is about accuracy. It is about moving in a way that reflects your truth, not reacting out of habit or fear. Take a moment to feel the difference within yourself. Notice how your perspective has changed. Notice how your emotions feel more grounded. And notice how your awareness has expanded beyond what it was before. This is not temporary. This is the beginning of a new way of being. And with this new alignment comes a deeper sense of trust, not just in the situation, not just in the connection, but in yourself. You begin to realize that you are capable of recognizing truth, of navigating complexity, of standing in clarity even when things are not fully defined. This is your strength. Archangel Michael stands beside you in this phase, not as someone who directs your every step, but as a protector who ensures that your path remains clear of unnecessary interference. You are not being controlled, you are being supported. And as you continue forward, this alignment will continue to deepen. You will find that decisions become easier to make, not because they are simple, but because you are no longer disconnected from your own awareness. You will find that your interactions carry more meaning because you are engaging from a place of authenticity rather than uncertainty. This is how transformation stabilizes. This is how clarity becomes your natural state. And this is how you begin to move through life not as someone searching for answers, but as someone who recognizes them when they appear. So embrace this new alignment. Do not question it. Do not shrink back from it. Allow it to guide you naturally, without force, without fear. Because this is what happens when truth is no longer ignored. It becomes the foundation upon which everything else is built. And from this foundation, a new path begins to unfold, one that is clearer, stronger, and more connected to the purpose that has been guiding you all along. My beloved, breathe into this moment because everything that once felt uncertain has now settled into a deeper kind of knowing. The storm of questions, the tension of confusion, the weight of not understanding, it has all led you here. And now, something within you is finally at rest. This is the peace that follows revelation. Archangel Michael is standing beside you in this closing moment, not with urgency this time, but with calm assurance. Because what needed to be revealed had been revealed. What needed to be understood has now reached your awareness. And what once felt hidden is no longer in the shadows. You see differently now. Not just the situation, not just the person, but yourself. There is a quiet strength that has awakened within you, a strength that comes from facing truth instead of avoiding it. You did not turn away this time. You stayed. You listened. You allowed yourself to see what was once unclear. And in doing so, you have stepped into a higher level of awareness that cannot be taken from you. Let that sink in. You are no longer the version of yourself who kept questioning whether something was real. You are no longer the one who dismissed your own intuition. You have crossed that threshold. You have chosen to see, to feel, to understand. And now, peace replaces the noise. This does not mean that every answer has been fully defined or that every outcome is already written. But it does mean that you are no longer lost in uncertainty. You are grounded in truth. And truth, even when it is still unfolding, brings a sense of calm that nothing else can provide. Archangel Michael wants you to carry this peace forward. Do not let old patterns try to pull you back into doubt. Do not allow fear to rewrite what clarity has already shown you. The truth you have seen is not fragile, it is steady, it is rooted, and it will remain with you as long as you choose to honor it. There may still be moments ahead where you reflect, where you question, where you revisit what has been revealed. That is natural. But now, those moments will feel different. They will not be filled with confusion. They will be guided by understanding. Because once truth enters your awareness, it becomes part of you. And as you move forward from here, you are not alone. Archangel Michael continues to walk with you, not as a distant force, but as a protector of your clarity, a guardian of your peace. You are being guided gently now, not pushed, not rushed, but supported in a way that allows you to move at the pace your soul is ready for. This is where trust deepens. Trust in what you feel. Trust in what has been revealed. Trust in the path that is unfolding, even if you cannot see every step yet. Because you have already been shown that there is more happening beneath the surface than you once believed. And that understanding alone is enough to carry you forward with confidence. To rest in this moment. Let your mind be still. Let your heart feel the quiet certainty that has replaced the chaos. This is your confirmation. This is your peace. This is your alignment. And as you close this chapter of revelation, know this: nothing that was meant for you has been lost. It has only been waiting for the moment when you were ready to truly see it. Type "I walk in peace and truth" in the comments if you receive this message with an open heart. Lesson code 1444 is now activated. And as this peace settles over you, hear this as a living invitation from heaven itself. This message did not reach you by accident, and it is not meant to stop with you. There are souls right now still walking in confusion, still ignoring the very signs that could set them free. I declare this over you. As you give, it will be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Now say it with me in your spirit. I become a vessel of light for others to find truth. When you release your support through Super Thanks or so through PayPal, you are not just giving. You are opening rivers that carry this message to those who are still searching. The links in every description and the QR code placed before you are not ordinary. They are doors of obedience waiting for your step of faith. Do not delay this moment. Move as you feel it, because when you act in alignment, heaven responds without delay. And as you give, may your life overflow with clarity, restoration, and divine peace that multiplies beyond what you can imagine.